Hey now, Rob here, Rob School of Music, and I am excited because I'm here with the legendary Gene Lewis from Bullets and Octane.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Very excited.
Yeah, brother, this is cool, man. Like, I found you guys, I think it was 2006. I was like flipping through Revolver magazine, and I saw the artwork for the record that had Going Blind on it. And I was like, holy crap, these are rock stars. What is this? And then just by chance, I went to go see the Panic Channel at, I think it used to be the Limelight in New York City. And I was like, oh my God, these guys are here. And been following you ever since, man. Just great music. Love all of it.
Man, a couple things I want to talk about with that. I see that once in a while when I'm folding laundry or something, I'll see the Access channel on. I have it on in the background just to give it views. I'm like, if I can help out music channels, I'll just have it on all day. And I see that there's this live Jane's Addiction concert that they play. And I know it's in New York, and I swear that it's from the Limelight. But I also know that venue has been closed down a little bit. And you're like one of the first people to really bring up, because that tour was so short and sandwiched between such ginormous tours that they were just like, dude, they were just keeping us busy. Like before we'd finish a tour and we were like wiping our brow and going, we're almost home, we'd get the email from the booking agent or the manager at the time and be like, we got another one. It was just like 2 years of just grueling it out. And I remember that place was I remember getting out of the van and being at that venue, and it's just like this all, from what I remember it, and maybe I've watched Pirates of the Caribbean too often, but it's like, it looks like a ginormous The Black Pearl, but in church form.
Yes.
The whole place is just all like this dark, flat black vibe to it, and it just never ends. There's just level after level after level. Then there's that upstairs attic bar, if I remember correctly. It was an amazing, quite a journey to just be on that tour and be around. Like, I'm a drummer. That's what I started doing first. So being around Stephen Perkins, and I remember there was a time on that tour where he wasn't there for a sound check, and it was like one of those moments where they're like, okay, nobody's around, we need to sound check Steve's drums, is there anybody that can play and I'm going, are you kidding me right now? So I get up there and I get behind Steve Perkins' drums, and he's got the little setup and the little machine on to his left, and I remember I'm like, oh, let me flip through there, and I started playing the drum beat to Pets from Porno for Pyros on the dude's kit. And I'm like, as a kid from Missouri who you never get to meet anybody from my small town like that. So to even just get behind the dude's kit and play his songs, his parts on his kit in front of an amazing sound system like that alone, is just amazing.
Dude, I can't even imagine what that felt like. And actually, some of the stuff you said just ties me right into the first question here. So Missouri, growing up, drummer first, like my dad's a drummer. So drums were my first instrument, and I'm
nice
now, but yeah, drums, I mean, it's the most important instrument in the band, if you ask me. But
Woo!
What was the thing that you were like, was it a concert? Was it a record? Was there something where you're like, that's what I want to do with my life?
As far as drums go, my father's a big band drummer, and he taught Dave Weckl actually back in Missouri. Yeah, man, a lot of big shoes and a lot of shadows to stand around in my life growing up. And dude, it was just amazing. I grew up around all these different types of music. My brother's 9 years older. He listened to like all the cock rock era stuff, and he had the cassette tapes of everything from Stryper to Guns N' Roses. And then and so my dad did the big band stuff. My neighbors listened to classic rock. My friends coming up in the 90s listened to grunge and punk. So I had all these bombarded different sounds coming at me, and I feel the older I get, the more that's just like a fine wine of that I even got to at such a young, impressionable age, got to be introduced to so many different types of music from different types of influences in my life.
Sure.
So yeah, he took me down in the basement. I was very young, and he put on a song called Birth of the Blues, first song I ever played. He put the record on, and he's like, I'm going to go run some errands or something, just, have fun. Little did I know, I found out years later he was hiding behind the wall. He wanted to see if I had the thing, and I guess I did. And all of a sudden I'm off playing shows through the Midwest and Illinois and different places where he would take me to sit down with his Dixieland jazz band. And I remember they would pass the hat around. And I remember my first gig, I think I made like $75, and it's been the most paying gig I've ever had since. Right? I mean, I was like, this is going to be easy. I played one song, I made $75 to like a 9-year-old is like $1 million check, right?
Yeah.
yeah, so that was the beginning of that. And then to answer probably your next question, which would be like that when I moved to California from St. Louis in like 1998, I realized very quickly that I can't just be a drummer of a band. Like I'm basically at the mercy of the lead singer finding a girlfriend or finding heroin or something, and then I'd have to start over, start over, start over. But if I made myself the man and I'm this, let me find a way to learn how to write songs. Let me see if I could sing. And here we are. It's like 25 something years later, and I'm still in charge of the thing that I'm doing. So, nobody was going to kick me off the throne, if you will,
Yeah.
of my own. Yeah.
I love that. I love that totally because like I watch a lot of the students here. Like, so we have like a brick and mortar school here in New York, about 35 minutes outside New York City. And then obviously the internet is our bigger platform. But I'll see young musicians all the time who are like in a less prominent part of the band in their mind. So they're like, oh, I need to be the guitarist. I need to be the singer. And it's not so much about the spotlights. It's about controlling their destiny and being the one who can kind of hold the group together and do that. So I definitely understand
Yeah.
where that's going.
Yeah, what a great way to put it. Controlling your destiny. I'm going to take that. I really like that part of it. Cool.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, use it, please. When did you find your voice? I love your voice. You have such a great rock and roll voice, but there's like a soulfulness to it. You can get gritty, but you can get pretty. Like, how did you develop that? And how do you
Man,
maintain that?
it's a good question. I actually was hoping you would ask that this morning. I was thinking of the journey it took. So when I decided to be the lead singer and go that route, I mean, I remember how many years it took. There was like, I can still picture the demos in my mind. I'm singing like Nashville Pussy. I'm singing like Motorhead stuff. I didn't know. I mean, I really am not a natural singer whatsoever. It was like full blown force myself to go figure it out. So to end up where I am today, like the song that you just mentioned, the brand new single, No One Gets Out Alive, that we just put out today.
Hey, yeah.
Um, I listened to that and I'm finally, literally, man, like my messing around here. I finally have been able to find a way to balance out everything because even after the album you had mentioned earlier that you found a song with Going Blind on it, album called In the Mouth of the Young, when that was coming out, I just was pissed off and screaming and dealing with whatever I could vocally. Like that's just what comes out. So that's what the world's getting. But as time went on, I took a break from doing the Bullets thing. I did some solo stuff. I made some pop albums. I made some country albums. I just wanted to try everything, every style of music, and just see what I could learn from it. I did a lot of higher on studio stuff where I'm doing, licensing for film and TV, like if, for the placements in movies and stuff. So I
Mhm.
had to do Taylor Swift stuff. So I had to use my voice in very, very different ways. And then as I got to where we are today, I'm trying to put in some of these different things because I can kind of sound like when I want to, an old blues guy from
Yes.
Nashville, and then some of the other stuff I can do, very different, like high falsetto stuff. And I'm like, how do I marry all of this? So I'm just slowly trying to find places of what the part in each song feels like. If this breakdown feels a little more soft and like delicate, being able to find a way to do it because you could sing in different ways, but it's trying to find a way to bridge them to where it doesn't feel awkward or out of place. Like it still seems like if you listen to the very end of the brand new single, I do like all these and no one here gets out alive, and I'm like, so it's like from
Yeah.
to straight up balls in your face again. And it took a long time to figure that out. I don't know if it really necessarily works, but I know that it's interesting. Like I hear it and I go, well, that sounds like an in sync meets Slipknot
Yeah.
certain area. So let's just roll with it because it can happen.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like, I mean, like I said, like I follow the journey. I like the street rats of rock and roll with the brave ones. And I remember like,
Oh,
oh yeah, dude, all of it. And that stuff, you can't find that online. So we got to talk about that. But, um,
okay.
uh, song for the underdog on the record after the one where I found you guys. Like, I was like, this is a totally different kind of singer. What's going on here? Like, that was my anthem for a while there when I was, had a rough night. I was like, okay, I wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure it's really funny once again that you say that. I don't really go online and listen to stuff on Spotify or really anywhere. I just usually am old school. I'll go to YouTube and listen to music on that. I don't know why. But as I went to go on to Spotify this morning to check out the new single, make sure it was all up properly, I pushed the button and Song for the Underdog came on. And I'm like, wow, I haven't heard this in a while. And it instantly brought me back to completely being hungover when I wrote that song. Like, no question, right? It
Awesome.
just totally reeks of that. So it's fun. It's funny you bring that up. And I had a question for you really quickly
Yeah.
on In the Mouth of the Young. Now, when you found that, were you more driven towards like the artwork album cover of it?
So I believe there was an ad in Revolver magazine that had the artwork in the corner, but it showed the band.
Okay.
And I mean, the artwork's amazing. It's a very cool album cover, but I remember seeing you and the other guys. I was like, these guys look like rock stars. And like, I was drawn to tattoos and the jewelry and just the vibe.
Yeah.
Before I even heard the song. And then I love that record. I mean, that record was incredible. But yeah, all of it. But I
Thanks.
just the look matched the sound, matched the art, just the whole package was very cool.
I was wondering because at the time I remember being on tour and RCA Records was like, okay, what do you want to do for the album cover for In the Mouth of the Young? And back then I was just being as difficult as possible because that's what you do. And I remember I was like, I'm going to like, because this is right when Walmart was people were getting in trouble for crazy album covers and they won't put them up in Walmart. So I literally was on speaker with the band and I made up the first thing I could think of. I go, well, it's a topless lady holding a baby and serving the baby milk, if you will. I don't know how to say that right. And it's yeah, boob.
Yeah.
And I remember I give him the description of the album cover, and it got silent. And the guy, A&R guy, he just goes, "Okay, we'll do that." And I was like, "Oh shit! Now we got to actually do it." I was just thinking they were going to be like, "There's no fucking way we're going to make that the album cover," so we had to kind of do it. So I thought that was funny to add.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. I think I bought it at Best Buy and I was like, whoa, yeah, like this is really the cover. But yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm trying to chronologically move along this journey.
Gotcha.
Um, as you're getting to the point where you're getting on these bigger tours and like that was like the major label record and all that stuff, like the crowds, I imagine, the tours, the people, you're opening for Avenged Sevenfold and all these big bands, like how did you maintain, and this is a question that connects directly to a question that I'm dealt with every single day or deal with every day, like the stage fright, the anxiety, the stress, the pressure. Like how do you, or what advice would you give a young musician stepping into this world, that world?
Yeah, I'm the right guy to ask, man. I dealt with that forever. Like it didn't matter how long we were touring for. I remember specifically being in Chicago, opening up for Social Distortion, and we've been out for tour for like a year and a half, playing the same song, same set list, and everything. And I'd still be backstage. I remember over the trash can going, like total
Wow.
nerves, like full
Wow.
blown. And then you know how it is, like you get out there and it would be Save Me Sorrow off the album we keep speaking of was the first song on that. And it would literally be the words are coming, the here comes, I have to sing, and I have nothing. And I would just open my mouth and they'd slowly like spill out. And I'm like, oh my God. But then finally, once you get past the second song, all of a sudden the set's over. You just have to get through that first two-ish songs to break the ice, and then all of a sudden you're off to the races and you're done. So so here's what I do, and I still do it to this day, is I go out into the crowd before the show. I go out, I meet everybody I can. I want to connect some stuff. I want to hear about it. Oh, your name's Trevor. You're a tow truck driver. Cool. Good to meet you. So I have that in my pocket on stage later on. If there's a little bit of a rub or like a nervous thing that happens or something goes wrong on stage, I just call it out and go, everybody over here, look out for this guy,
That's awesome.
and so, it would be one of those. Did we lose you there? There we are. Yeah, it'd be one of those types of things. So I would love to, because it also warms up my voice. If I'm out and about and screaming and shouting with people, I kind of get myself broken in vocally, but then also it breaks the ice. Once the curtain raises, it's like I've already made a personal connection, and that helps lower my nerves a little bit. I don't know if that'll work for everybody else, but it seems to work. And of course, if people do know your songs or they're familiar with your material, it's really cool to do the trick where if you don't remember the words, you stick the microphone in someone's face and hopefully they steamroll you into what the part was supposed to be.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So again, I'm working my way up to the newest single, which came out today because I want to dive into that very heavily, but chronologically. So there was, you said Bullets and Octane went away for a little while, and then there was the Brave Ones and other things. Me listening to music online, one day I just typed it in and I was like, oh my God, there's other records. And I actually fell in love with the Give Me a Reason on the Riot Rock and Roll album.
Oh,
like,
cool.
that's a great
Yeah.
song. And it's like, you're still making great music. What do you do if you're faced with any sort of writer's block? Like, what's your writing process? Is it the lyrics first? Are you coming up with riffs? Is it collaborating with, guitar player bandmates? Like how do you do that?
Yeah. I noticed there's a couple different types of writers, lyrics first writers or melody first writers. I definitely have always been leaning towards melody first at all costs because I think about being a kid and hearing Forever Young by Rod Stewart or songs
Yes.
growing up, Time on My Hands by Elton John. Those songs I didn't understand as a kid lyrically what the hell they meant. They're about love and things, and I don't know anything about anything. But I knew that the melodies drew out all kinds of emotions for me as a kid. So it's always been melody first and then fit the words in however you have to. That's my go-to for sure. And as far as like the writer's block thing or anything like that, which definitely happens from time to time, I will say, as we're keeping this full circle stuff here, it's like that In the Mouth of the Young album. I remember there's a song that's called Ain't Your Savior, a really heavy song on that album. And that one's been in some movies and different things. And I remember everything I was writing just sounded the same. And I literally picked up an acoustic bass one day and I put on a 311 album and I learned a 311 album. I think it was the Grassroots, their second album or something on bass. I put it down. I picked up my little toy pig nose guitar with an amplifier built into it. And within minutes, I wrote Ain't Your Savior. And that's just kind of how it goes. I've learned, at least for myself, I don't know if I recommend it for everybody, but I go to something completely not to do with my genre. Because when I was on the Corn Family Values tour, I'm surrounded by the same style of bands. And it just gets in my head and everything starts to sound the same. I'm making the same shit everyone else is doing. I'm making the same albums over and over again. So I tend to swap out instruments. I tend to go listen to things that are unrelated at all to what you would consider Bullets and Octane style to be. And that definitely kind of helps. And I will say, as I'm getting a little bit older and stuff, I am letting down, it sounds bad, but letting down my pride, my ego a lot more as the years go by to collaborations and things. I think initially working with people and collaborating, if they're not on my same page, I'm just like, this isn't going well. I'm going back to my dungeon. But
Right.
as I'm getting older, it's even just working with someone for 5 minutes and having an outside ear influence, throwing back some stuff at me. It just seems so eye-opening. All of a sudden, you just go in directions you didn't have in your visible bag of tricks necessarily.
Very true. Yes. No, I like that. And dude, like you're like, I have a list here of songs. I'm going to just read off a couple like Ain't Your Savior, My Disease, Going Blind, As the Bombs Fall, Give Me a Reason, Welcome to Our Holiday, Mine Now. Like these are diversely different melodies, but they're all hugely anthemic, super catchy songs, all while being heavy rock songs. Like that's a thin line to straddle with aggressive music that still gets stuck in your head and you're humming that melody for a week and you're like, what the hell is it? And then it comes back around. So you're very
I
good at
love that.
yeah,
Well,
dude.
thanks, man. I find that what I steal on accident, and I find this out when I go to the dentist or something, and I'm sitting there getting drilled on, and all of a sudden I'll hear whatever they pipe into elevators and dentist office, that soft yacht rocky thing, Chicago, Steely Dan, all that stuff. It's amazing. But I'll hear it and I'll go, oh my God, I totally stole that. Like I'll hear things. So I love it when I hear those melodies of those songs. Like I'm a huge melody guy, man. So sometimes when I'm on these tours and it's just a lot of Cookie Monster metal, just
Yeah.
it's great. I get it. You're pissed. It's aggressive, but it's like I would rather all day hear. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get a like. I gotta have that. So in my mind, I think of like, Steven Tyler is a huge influence and example of the amount of musical ability that guy puts into the certain choices he does with his harmonies and the weird things that he does at the tail end of bridges to add like that tension, these weird I don't know music theory and stuff like you probably do, man, but I just do what I do. But I'll hear this stuff and I'm like, this is genius. I highly recommend to everybody out there, if you haven't listened to the Aerosmith album Just Push Play, it's not one of their most famously known albums, but that one from top to bottom, I still put it on today and go, how did this one come to be? Like this is still 20 years old or more, and it still is just like amazing. Yeah,
That is a fantastic record. As you said, just push play. I'm going fucking A because I'm hearing the song in my
yeah,
head. So yeah,
exactly.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
love it.
Okay. Vocal questions again, because I want to stick on that because your style of singing, it sounds like it's rough on your chords, but your speaking voice it's clear as a whistle. So is there a technique to getting the more aggressive way of singing? Are you staying hydrated? Is there no alcohol? Is there tea? Is there honey? Like what's the secret sauce, man?
Yeah, I mean, back in those days, I was. I was into, doing heavy drugs and drinking like at a regular basis. I don't know how I lived. I don't know how I got on stage, and it's pretty weird that it all worked out the way it even did, man. But as you get older and things change, your voice gets lower. You just can't live like that.
Right.
So, and I remember the singer of Guttermouth, Mark, he would always tell me, he's like, get lots of sleep, drink a shit ton of water. And I'd be like, but I'm going to have to ask the guys to pull the van over every 15 minutes to piss. But so that's super duper still the same key. I remember being playing the Astoria in London on with Corey Taylor and Stone Sour, and my voice was completely shot. I blew it out in every spot I could actually cheat with, and the show must go on. And that show was a huge one with all the press there and everything. And I accidentally found, because everything else was blown out, something clicked of like how to do it the right way by default.
Wow.
So all that really heavy, screamy stuff that I'm able to do, it's actually done with very little effort. Like I can do that stuff, and I could wake up you can wake me up at 4 in the morning, and I'll go, all right, here we go, and just do it. And I'm not pushing very hard. It's actually coming up pretty highly out of the face. It's not really living here as much as it used to. And there's longevity to that, being able to find a way to do it comfortably. And it's hard to do if like you don't have the proper monitors. I've never worn in-ear monitors because I haven't had the fundage to do it, but I heard that really helps. But I've noticed like if you have a good mix and your wedges and things like that and the side fills, and you're not overly pushing yourself, because you can't hear yourself, so you think that everyone else is going to be in the crowd not being able to hear yourself too, and then you push yourself too hard for over 4 or 5 songs, and you've ruined the next 3 days of your tour.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I think it's like we have a fantastic voice coach here, and she discusses like where you're putting the note, and similar to what you said, it's not here, it's up here. But
Yeah.
it's cool to see it in actuality. It works. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, no one gets out alive with Steve Stevens. What's the journey? How'd we get here? Because it's a killer song, man, and like all the lead up to it, and the hype, and the video. Like, just tell me a story.
Yeah, it's actually pretty unbelievable, and it's only a couple months ago that it happened. My partner and I, Clay Davies, he's a lead guitar player where we write these songs together, and he's also the producer of the new stuff as well. So he's wearing many, many hats. And we take our time with it. And it just so happened, I don't really go on there's this little app on our phones called TikTok. I don't know if you heard of it, but the kids use it a lot.
Yeah, kids.
I'm kidding. That's TikTok. I know it. I know it. But anyway, so I seen that, there's a little thing, and there's all these fake accounts, but it looked like this account was a real person. And I'm like, holy cow, this really can't be the guy. And he liked some things. And I at this point in my age and my career, I just don't have time to fuck around. I just don't. So I'm just like, hey man, if this is really you, here's my phone number. Let's see what happens. And I'm like, kind of forgot about it. The next day I get a phone call from a 666 number. And before I even answer, I go, no way. Like, who else could it be? It ain't going to be Nikki Six today. So I answer it, and sure enough, it's him. And with AI and stuff going on, and I got people who love to mess with me. So I'm like, there's just no way. This is just too easy, is what I really felt like, too accessible and too soon and too quick, the response. So I'm like, hey, man, well, this is great. He's like, I've heard of your band. I've listened to it for a while. I've known of your existence, but I'm really kind of excited about your positive messages that you do on your social media. Because I go out, I get up early and I jog and all this stuff. And I'm, hey, everybody, hope you have a great day. And that really inspired him to, interact. So I was like, well, yeah, man, I'd love to show you what I'm working on right now. And it just so happened that Clay and myself happened to have a song that was pretty well put together. And this is the No One Gets Out Alive song. So it's pretty close already. And I felt proud to show it at that point. So I sent it to him, and he's like, dude, it's really great. I love it. And I go, well, if you noticed, it doesn't have a lead guitar part on it yet, kind of. And he was like, well, yeah, I'd love to. And I'm like, holy shit. So I send him the song, and literally with under 6 or 8 hours, I think it was, I get the song back. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And I'm thinking still, it's got to be AI, so just too good to be true. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to go for the jugular, because we're trying really hard with every single that's been coming out this year and last year is to put a music video out alongside of it. And so I was like, well, hey, man, it sounded really great. You wouldn't want to be in the music video, would you? And I'm thinking, like, I'm just going for the jugular. There's no way he's going to do it. And he comes back with, well, if I'm going to be in the music video, I might as well play on the whole song. Like, oh my God, this is
You
amazing.
insist.
So, yeah, exactly. And so he knocked that out really quickly, and he literally flew in from Vegas day of. And I don't know what it is, man, but it's been a long journey for me. So there's been a lot of ups and many downs. So I'm just thinking, I don't know if it's going to come together. I just still don't think it will. And I remember being up on the fourth floor of the video shoot warehouse place, and I look down and I see this black SUV pull up, and he gets out of the black SUV in his black flowing Steve Stevens amazement lion's mane, and I'm like, holy shit, he's in the parking lot. This is happening, man. Like, this is real deal stuff. And he couldn't, dude. They say don't meet your heroes, and this is the only time that that is completely false. This guy is the most humble and supportive. Like, he really feels. It feels like I'm hanging out with like an older brother. Like, the whole time, he pulled me aside at the video shoot and be like, "Hey, man, just keep it up. I really feel like if you guys keep writing these banger songs, it's gonna work out, and I believe in you." And it just was like amazing to think of. This is a legendary status guitar player. He's done some stuff. Dirty Diana, Michael Jackson. Like,
Mhm.
you can't take that shit away from anybody. That's a stamp in time. The king of pop and him. So to be so kind and so nice to see a band at our level and go, I'm going to be a part of that. I believe in them and I want to show them that. So I feel extremely blessed that this happened. It just seems like a dream. It happened so fast.
That's amazing. That's, you hear these stories and it's what makes you want to keep going. And so it's like, as like people watching this, from my world, like, you're where we want to be. And then to have someone who's have such a pedigree touch you and be like, here, now you're going to go even further. Like
Yeah.
that's everything. So
Yeah, and it's really sweet, man, because Clay and myself and Steve Stevens, we have a little text thread, the three of us, and we literally talk every day. Like,
wow.
just a minute ago, we were sending each other guitar pictures and stuff, and I thank him constantly. I'm like, dude, you have no idea how much of a great blessing, wind of in our sails this has been for us to just kind of like fill our tanks again with a little bit more of like, you know what, we can do this. Like, let's put every day, put our best effort in and chip away and work for a better song, a better song. We got to beat out this song now. We've got to do better. Life is short and we're not getting any younger. We need to make an album that, especially next year is the 20th anniversary, I think, of In the Mouth of the Young that you speak of. And I want to make an album that comes out right before it that really gives it a run for the money or eclipses it, right? That's the thing.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I think like longevity in music, it's achievable and it's attainable, however you say that word. Like, I deal personally, like, just super small tangent, like in the in-person music education world, I deal with parents weekly who are like, yeah, well, they're not going to do guitar forever, but their brother is going to play soccer and he's going to go get a scholarship or some bullshit. And realistically, fast forward a decade from that moment, the kid with the soccer scholarship probably isn't playing soccer anymore, but the kid who is
Right.
doing music has a life skill that they can take with them and play in bands the rest of their lives and generate income from it, be it, in a wedding band or a coffee shop or their own original music, or trying to make something out of it. And I think the beauty of music now in 2024 is the ability to reach out and do so many little things and go on social media and have things like that and talk to amazing people like you and share these kind of stories to inspire the next generations and just see that you can make a life out of this. It's not going to be a straight line. It's going to be zigzaggy, but you're going to
Yeah.
walk somewhere. So,
Yeah, I mean, you really you tap on something there that I find kind of interesting. Like I said, I get up early, I do my jogs, and I do evening jogs as well. And I live in a pretty quiet neighborhood, in like way away from Hollywood and all that stuff. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and as I jog through in the evening, I hear drum sets in garages more than you would actually think. And I'm growing up in like the 80s in a small town in Missouri, like it wasn't a thing about everybody had a guitar in the corner of their living room and stuff. It still was kind of frowned upon to have instruments in the rock and roll nature. Like, I remember parents would equate that to, oh no, you're not playing guitar. Oh no, it wasn't as pushed along that way. So I definitely feel that now is such a so much more of a better time. Like, I can't even talk about how many channels there are to help this stuff. Like, if I would have had Rick Beato, I'm sure I know you know who that guy
yeah.
is. I love that guy. I used to write to that guy back in like 2017 when he first started and everything. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. Like, I can only imagine. All we had was like Rip Magazine and Circus and, stuff like that.
Yep,
And we
yep.
would glue ourselves to these magazines. We'd go and drive up to the store, have our moms take us to buy them just so we can stare at these things for hours. And nowadays we could just go on here and watch hour after hour after hour of so much bombardment, like influence. it's quite amazing, man. It's unbelievable what these 7-year-olds are able to do. You know, you see like a 7-year-old little girl playing Neil Peart parts on
Yeah.
drums, and you're like, what? What
Yep.
is this?
Dude, and
I love it.
like Rick is a great example because he delivers the information in a way that's accessible. Like I I I all right, shameless plug. I have a book. I wrote a book. It's called This Book Shreds. And one of the things I speak about in it is exactly that, choosing when you see these, because we have access to everything. You could learn how to do open heart surgery on YouTube, probably, but you have to choose. You have a choice in that moment if you're going to be intimidated or inspired. And I think so many
Yeah.
people, like same as you, putting out the positivity, like these are accessible, successful people showing the younger generations, here's how you do this, here's what you can do, here's how to live your life. And it's, if you look the right way, the path is laid out. It's just doing the work, and I love that.
Yeah, you're right, man. And when we only had the radio to like stop, push, rewind, try to figure out that lick,
Yeah.
stop, push, rewind, try to, and I thank God for like the Nirvanas and the Green Days and the Weezers and stuff that came out in the 90s because not having really any guitar players around me, I most certainly couldn't really pick up a Slash song or stuff that was from the 80s. It was really, like you said, intimidated and stuff like that to even think like, well, that just is way too far advanced to
Right.
even feel like I should even try to attempt to pick up a guitar. But when you got like, Welcome to Paradise and when I come around, Green Day, I'm like, okay, I could pick up the $60 Strat, find a way to find these four chords, and then once you kind of get one or two songs sloppily done, that's enough motivation if you're really into it to just keep moving forward. But if you can't get that initial kind of thing going, you're gonna put it down. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to go into this part that this I don't know. I have a rapid fire question section, but a lot of it's guitar related things. But I don't know if that would be ultra relevant. So before I go to the end of that part, what is your drum set of choice? Like what cymbals, what drums? If you dream kit, what's your regular day to day kit? What did you grow up on? What was that journey?
Yeah. I know rapid fire. You want these quick
No, no,
answers?
no, no. This can take your time. Rapid fire, you'll know the rapid fire because it's going to be painful. Don't worry. It'll be
Painful.
fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, to
Questions,
balance out,
no
like I
answers.
said, being coming up in jazz and different stuff and also playing rock stuff, I love Jimmy Chamberlain, one of my absolute favorites. I love the left foot, always going, keeping time. Amazing. So it's like, believe it or not, I'm still a fan of Yamaha drums. I'm a big fan of Sabian cymbals, Zildjian, of course, but I really like the diversity of some of the Sabian stuff, especially with the Dave Weckl, like evolution with the holes in them and things like that. It's really fun cymbals. So I don't know. And then Roy Burns, rest in peace, but Roy Burns, who was the owner and co-founder or founder of Aquarian Drumheads, used to change my diapers, believe it or not, back when
Oh,
I was a little baby. So, Aquarian Drumheads, I'd love to still rep that stuff. But for the bigger things, I mean, Vic Firth Pro Mark sticks are great. I love the Vader Fatbacks. Those are fun. But I don't know. Yamaha drums have always sounded great, man. I got a little, mid-level kit still right now, and every one of the shells from bass drum, rack tom, floor, all that stuff, every one of them sounds like I picked them from my favorite kits.
wow.
And every time I could put them in those bags, put them in the garage, wait 6 months, whatever, take them back out, set them up, and I'm like, yeah, these are good to go. Like they're ready to fire away. So yeah, there you go.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. My father growing up, he was a Tama guy. And then in the later
Oh,
years,
cool.
Ludwig people. But the guy who plays in my band is a Yamaha guy. He has a stage custom, something like that.
Think that's what I got too.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all those big Ludwig kits and stuff like that. I mean, I was a big fan in the '90s when it was the Dr. Feelgood tour in the late early '90s with the big bass drum, the DW thing he was
Shirt
doing.
I'm
Like,
wearing today, which is crazy you say that, but that's
oh yes, look at that, dude. I mean, I love that shit. I love the Tommy. I love the flashiness of the whole thing, putting fur all over my drums. I did all that stuff. But as far as like sonic consistently and just getting, kind of older and kind of more into the sound more than I am the showmanship of spinning sticks and stuff, I just, the consistency of Yamaha stuff is great. But I do love the flashy stuff, like of the Yamaha crazy colors and all. I mean, Ludwig, that's fun too.
yeah, it's all fun. That's the problem. It's like I
It
ask
is,
guitar
dude.
players about guitars, and it's like, do you like a Les Paul or a Strat? The answer is both because they both do something awesome. So it's like there's
Right.
no right answer. So
I want it all.
yeah, and then that's the answer. More, and better.
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, dude. So here's the rapid fire section here. I only have a handful, but they're band related questions. So it's a this or a that. The answer is yes in both to all of them, but that's not any fun. So try your best. All right, ready?
Okay.
Beatles or Stones?
Both.
But if you had to pick one.
Come on. I can't. I refuse.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll give you a pass. All right. So if we're focusing on the Beatles, then would it be John or Paul?
I'm going to go with Paul, I think.
I agree. I agree with that. they're both amazing. Obviously, I feel like if I would argue with John Lennon. I think like his personality would clash with mine.
I told you my Paul McCartney story, didn't I? I'll have to.
Oh, no, please. Oh my God, let's go.
Okay, make it quick. I just ruined rapid fire.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. Dude, it's your show, man. It's all good. We got time.
Dude, In the Mouth of the Young, the album we keep talking about. We were recording at Capitol Records at Studio B, and I heard that there was a possibility that someone was going to be coming in, like, to look out. And sure enough, I'm standing there at the board, and in walks Paul McCartney, and he's wearing a blue blazer. He comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, mate, you should get a tattoo." Joking around because I'm fucking littered in tattoos, right? And I didn't even know what to say. I mean, I literally, plus you're in the zone, you're in the zone in the studio. Anybody walking in is going to throw you off, but it's a fucking Beatle. There's a Beatle in the room. And nicest guy. He's like, "So what are you guys doing in here?" And I wanted to be like, "Well, we're doing rock and roll. You wouldn't understand it, as if you invented it in America or anything like that." And then, so I immediately, as soon as that encounter was done, I go outside in front of Capitol and I'm calling my dad like, "Dude, you'll never, and I'm telling him, and Paul walks out and he's the nicest. He's like, "Hey man, great to see you." And he goes and he gets in his matching blue Corvette with the matches blue blazer. And I'm like, unbelievable. The nicest dude, man. I just couldn't believe it. Anyway, that's all I got. That's the short version.
Well, yeah, I don't even know how to follow that. That's dude, holy shit. I like the tattoo joke. That is so witty and quick and perfect.
Yeah. Paul, man.
Amazing. All right. So then you can personally vouch that he's cool. So Paul's the answer to that. All right. Next question. Bowie or Dylan?
I'm going to go with Bowie.
Okay.
I think it's a front man thing, dressing up and different, doing whoever you want, whenever you want. And people just have to fucking accept it. That's what
yes. Fair. Zeppelin or Floyd? I asked that one to Nick Perry and he almost signed off. He's like, "I can't do that."
Yeah, I just was talking to him this morning too. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Dude, you're impossible. Why are you doing this to people? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Floyd, man. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, that's okay. Dude. The answer is yes. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. It's almost over. Okay.
Oh man.
Why don't people want to talk to me anymore? I don't understand. Yeah. Okay. So if it's Floyd, is it Dark Side or The Wall?
I know that I'm supposed to be quick. I'm going to be honest. I never really listened to Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin ever. I never owned their albums or anything. Oh, sorry.
No,
it's all the, oh yeah.
That's fine.
And I'm like, everyone's yodeling and shit. Just give me a melody. Wouldn't it be nice?
I love it.
All right. So how do we answer your question? What's the difference? I mean, I know that people are going to fucking hate me now, but I will say that, like, I listen to the radio when it comes to shit like that. So it's like, I couldn't tell you which songs are from which album.
I think really bad. No, that is the best answer to those questions I've ever received, because I feel like as rock and roll, we're supposed to, like, it's like the kid who buys the Nirvana shirt from American Eagle, but doesn't know a Nirvana song. Like we're expected to know this music, and realistically, that's not everyone's journey. Cause like I said before, it's not a straight line. So like that. I
remember, I'll tell you, man, I remember one time hanging out and it was Taylor Hawkins and Dave Grohl. It was after one of their gigs, and I was young and sauced up. And I remember they were talking about drummers, and I was just, and dude, people are going to hate me right now, but I remember everyone's like, "Oh, Bonham. And I'm a drummer who was raised around jazz and like other stuff. And I remember I was like, "Dude, I get it, but like, it's just not my guy. I'm really not as much of a Bonham guy as I am supposed to fucking be." And I know you probably should hang up on me too right now, end the interview right here. Right?
No.
But I'm just, there's a lot of things that should be influenced in the type of style that I do that I guess I just haven't had my moment yet. And I'm looking forward to maybe being in my 50s or something one day. And I'll be like, Dark Side of the Moon. I totally get it now.
Yeah, that dude. No, I mean I think it's. So my dad was a jazz drummer originally too. So he was a guy who's always yelling at people. Buddy Rich, that was like his guy.
Oh yeah.
So like when I asked that question to him, just playfully, like he listed a bunch of jazz cats, and I was like, oh, because that's kind of where it starts. Like at least in this country, like those guys were influencing. You know, it all trickles down from somewhere. So there is no wrong answer. The answer to
Yeah.
me is yes and more and please. The
Did you,
difference.
did you see?
What do you got?
I wanted to show you this here, jazz guy. That's Gene Krupa signature and Louis Belson signature, and that's how I got my name, Gene Lewis. My dad named me after two of the biggest big band, jazz drummers like that. I
I love,
thought you'd dig on that.
dude. I love that. I love that. I
Go
love that.
ahead.
I I believe I read that somewhere along the way, but to hear it out of your mouth and see the tattoos, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, old news. You're right. What else you got, babe?
No. I wasn't sure. I mean, you know, what you read on the internet. Anything could be anything. It didn't come out of your mouth. Now it did. All right. So
Yeah.
with the dark side and the wall, just to give the reference. So the wall would be like another brick in the wall, and dark
hmm
side would be like money. So that's the stylistic difference. And dark side is a concept record, and I guess the whatever doesn't matter. Okay, Pearl Jam or Nirvana, we can do that one.
Dude. I mean, you would make it easier if you did like albums, like because I think Pearl Jam Versus, their second one,
Mhm.
that one, that's my favorite of theirs.
Yes.
Nirvana, though, it's such a dude. That's such a amazing melodies and
Yes.
stuff. Oh, fucking
No,
asshole.
I'll make it easier for you. I'll make it easy. So, I'm a Pearl Jam guy and I'm a Versus guy, 100%. I love that record front to back. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I didn't get Nirvana until during like the thing that happened in 2020. I can't say the word or YouTube will squash my video, but the thing during 2020, I was just here at the school all day long and I was like, I'm going to check out Nirvana. And I got it like 2 decades too
Huh.
late, but I got it. So, you know, you're talking about the aha moment where you find something that you didn't find. Like it
Yeah.
happened. Yeah. And now I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I guess I would say that for the consistency and how influential Nirvana's impact was at like being my teenage years, I guess I have to go with Nirvana, but it's like it's the chocolate and peanut butter, the lemon and the lime. These things have to exist together. They just do. And this is why you like torturing people.
Yes. Yes. Well, so normally there would have been like 20 guitar related ones to like get you nice and loose, like, you know, like the little foreplay. And then I start hitting it with this one. So we missed that. I apologize. It's a disservice to you, but I promise this is the last one. And to some people, it's a very clear cut answer. And to other people, it's a debatable answer. But if we're talking Van Halen, is it Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth?
I have an answer, but I will say that the melodies and stuff Sammy brought, the songwriting, right now, hey, that stuff. But as a front guy who didn't know his voice, like we talked about in the beginning of the thing, David Lee Roth always said, I'm an entertainer, not a lead singer. And I took that mantra and I brought it onto the stage. And I'm like, I got to dress up. I got to throw microphones, anything to make anyone forget that I can't sing very good. So I'm going to go with the David Lee Roth because it's tried and true. Hot for teacher, crank it up in your car, and you will get pulled over and go to jail.
So, Gene Lewis, brother, thank you so much for your time. Everyone go check out No One Gets Out Alive with Steve Stevens, Bullets and Octane. This is a really fucking cool tune. It came out today, so this is the day to listen. You can stream it on all your streaming platforms, and the link will be in the video below, or below the video.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. This has been our pleasure.